We know that the expectations are through the roof for Nebraska this season. A lot of fans, they're expecting 8, 9, 10 plus wins in a college football playoff berth. But when you start to look nationally, when you start to look inside the Big Ten, there are a bunch of fans who continue to disrespect Nebraska at the highest level. And honestly, I'm sick and tired of it. I'm calling these people out. I've come up with the 5 biggest myths that these national beat reporters, these national fans continue to talk about when it comes to Nebraska that are completely untrue and that they're going to be proven wrong in a big way this season. So really quick, this is going to be a brutally honest video. I'm going to have some hot takes, so make sure you watch the entire thing because it's going to be fun. Hit that like button if you're fired up. And also, if you're a diehard Nebraska fan and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? For daily content, talking about your favorite team, talking Huskers, it's a no-brainer. Takes 2 seconds. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, let's get into it. I believe that the majority of Nebraska fans, they're very optimistic about this season. The general consensus is that we're going to win 8, 9, potentially even 10 games. But I've noticed that when you go nationally, especially inside the Big Ten, you go down south, you go to the East Coast, the West Coast, there's still a lot of people who continually disrespect Nebraska with the same old myths, with the same old hoaxes that are completely untrue. And it's not just common fans. It's these national beat reporters. It's these people who have a lot of influence. They continue to disrespect Nebraska at the highest level. So I'm going to expose all of them. I'm going to go over the 5 biggest myths. Let's just get things started with the number one thing that I hear constantly from these ESPN reporters, from these fans down south in the rest of the Big Ten. They say that Nebraska isn't talented enough to make the college football playoff, or even talented enough to win 8, 9, 10 games and be a top 10 team in the Big Ten. What are we even talking about here? Okay. I want to just set the stage for you. As of right now, Nebraska, they have 45 4-stars on their roster. That's top 20 in America. They have 3 5-star prospects. They had a top 10 transfer class in America last year. They've had multiple top 25 recruiting classes the past couple of seasons. What isn't good enough to make the college football playoff? And let's just compare this to Indiana. Indiana out of nowhere made the playoff last year. Okay, what about our team is worse than what Indiana had last year? Our quarterback play is going to be phenomenal. Our wide receiver play is going to be some of the best in the Big Ten, if not the country. Our DBs are very good. Our defensive line is better than what you think. The offensive line is very much improved. Yeah, there might be some issues with the running back core, but that's really about it. And also, we have a big improvement with our coaching staff. Dane, one of the best offensive minds. I think John Butler's going to be an upgrade from our defensive coordinator last year. So when these people say that we're not talented enough to win, potentially 8, 9, 10 games to compete against teams like Ohio State, they're just not informed. They don't know what they're talking about. And I hear that constantly. The people who disrespect Nebraska, they say, oh, they just don't have any 5-stars. How many 5-stars did Indiana have last year? Okay, how many 5-stars did Notre Dame even have? They play in the college football national championship. They don't get 5-stars all the time like Ohio State does. Okay. So that's the first thing that I just need to expose right now, because Nebraska, from a star standpoint, from a recruiting ranking standpoint, they are talented enough to make the college football playoff, to even be contention for the national title if everything worked out. Obviously, that's probably not going to be the case. But also, here's another thing that I really, really am tired of hearing. Matt Rule can't win the big games. That's the thing that I hear all the time. Matt Rule can't win the big games that, he'll beat against teams like Purdue, Northwestern, whatever. But when it's a top 25 opponent, he's going to crumble. And honestly, when you look at the stats, they might be right. Okay, he has a 2-20 record in ranked games, which is horrendous. He's never won a ranked game at Nebraska. That's all true. But here's the caveat for people who aren't very informed about his situation. He's never sticked around at college long enough to win these ranked games consistently. We know that he was at Temple for 3 years and Baylor for 3 years. In the first 2 years at both of those programs, it was a complete dumpster fire because he was inheriting one of the worst programs in college football. Of course, he wasn't going to win a ranked game. And then, at Temple year 3, he was phenomenal, but they didn't play really that many ranked opponents because they were in the AAC. You go over to Baylor, same deal, the Big 12, they weren't very strong. So listen, he didn't stick around long enough going into year 4, year 5, year 6 to win all those ranked games. That's why the record is what it is, because yeah, of course he's 2-20, because year 1 against Temple, he wasn't going to be competitive. Year 1 at Baylor, when he was rebuilding one of the worst programs in Power 5, of course he wasn't going to be competitive. The thing is, this year, that's going to change with Nebraska, because year 3, this is the most talented roster he's ever had. And he's also going to stick around longer after this to actually get these ranked wins. So again, I hate that because, again, he just hasn't stuck around long enough to win these ranked games. That changes at Nebraska. And also, people will say Matt Rule's not a good enough game planner to win these ranked games. They might not be wrong with that either, but he's addressed that. He's gotten elite game planners like Dana Holgorsen. He's brought in guys like Phil Snow. So he's addressed those issues internally. He's brought in the best coaching staff money can buy. That's why the game plan is going to be a high level. There's the talent's at a high level. He can win these ranked games if he's around long enough, and that's exactly what's taking place at Nebraska. We're going to be in contention for some big wins. Okay. The third thing that I hear is simply this. In the new Big Ten, in modern day college football with NIL, new recruiting and all that, Nebraska just can't compete in the Big Ten. They should go back to the Big 12. They really want to be competitive. I hate that. I hate that more than anything else. And that's what I hear from Nebraska fans all the time, is that we should just go back to the Big 12. Okay, let me remind you that we played Ohio State last year in Columbus and we almost beat them. A team that won the national championship just a couple months later. We almost beat them. We should have won that game. We've almost beat Michigan time and time again. We're almost always competitive against some of the top teams in America. Okay, it's not really a question if we can become competitive, because we know we're competitive. It's just a matter if we can actually win. Okay, that's the thing that is a question. Yes, can we actually win against some of the big teams in the Big Ten? But competitive, we are competitive. We are meant to be in the Big Ten. But can we take that big jump to win? I just don't know that. That is a valid concern. But to say we're not competitive, you just don't know what you're talking about, because we are competitive against some of these top teams. We just need to learn how to win these close games. Okay, fourth thing that I'm tired of hearing, and this is to all the national beat reporters, they're so ambivalent about this team. They don't know what to think, okay? And they do this every single offseason, whether it was with Mike Riley, Scott Frost, with Matt Rhule, okay? They'll tear down the roster. They'll tear down the coach, and they say, we're just not talented enough. We're not good enough to win 8, 9, 10 games, okay? They'll say that nobody respects us nationally. They'll just disrespect us, period. And then they'll turn around and then they'll say, well, I think Nebraska's not going to make a big jump. They're still going to maybe make a bowl game and win 6, 7 games. Well, what's your real opinion? You can't be in the middle here. Have a hot take. Stick your neck out. I'm tired of beat reporters, again, disrespecting Nebraska, saying we're not really that good, we're not that talented. And then they say, well, I still expect them to win 7 games. It's either we're terrible or we're really good. You have to have a hot take here. You have to stick your neck out, because when you just sit here and disrespect the program and then say, oh, they're still going to win 7 games and make a decent bowl game, that's not really saying much of anything. That just tells me you don't know what you're talking about. Okay. It's clear you don't know anything about Nebraska. You don't know anything about this roster. You don't know anything about this coaching staff to make an actual informed opinion. So you just say, well, Nebraska is going to win 6 games like they should every year, but they're never going to make that big jump. I'm tired of it. Okay. Don't disrespect this team if you're going to say, oh, we're going to win 7 games. It's either you can disrespect this program, but at least have the confidence to say, okay, we're going to win only 4 games or 5 games. If you're going to disrespect us constantly, then put your money where your mouth is. But if you're going to sit here and hype us up, then go ahead and predict a college football playoff appearance or at least 9 wins. You can't be in between. You just can't. I'm tired of that, because it feels like every single year with these beat reports are like, oh, Nebraska, they disrespect us and they still predict 7 wins. Don't be in between. Either we're going to be really good or really bad. If you're going to disrespect us, you got to have somewhere on the extremes, not in the middle. Last thing I want to talk about, okay? And this is something I hear from the fan base all the time. Nebraska always finds ways to lose. How is that even going to change this year? Yeah, Nebraska's talented. Yeah, Dylan Raiola is good. Yeah, Coach Roll, he always develops programs at a high level, but Nebraska always finds ways to lose. So for that reason, I'm just going to predict 6 wins. I'm just going to predict 5 wins. Says a bunch of Nebraska fans who are pessimistic, or a bunch of national beat reporters, or a bunch of Big Ten fans around the country. That's what everybody says. Okay, and I agree. We have lost 1-score game time and time again, whether it was with Matt Rhule, whether it was with Scott Frost, whether it was with Mike Riley. However, that doesn't happen forever. Trends don't last for 10, 20, 30 years a lot. Okay, things will eventually change. And this is finally the year where that's going to happen. Okay, some point, either Nebraska's going to start winning these close games, they're going to start blowing at teams, or they're going to start getting blown out themselves. Which one do you think is more likely? That Nebraska's going to start blowing out teams, or that they're going to get blown out? I think it's probably the first option. Okay, Nebraska, they're going to win these close games eventually because they've done all the right things throughout the offseason, whether it's bringing in the best talent money combined the transfer portal. They brought in multiple big-time coaches, again, Dane Holgorsen, then Phil Snow. Matt Rhule, he's figuring out his flaws. He's understanding how to win these close games. He's being better when it comes to a time managing standpoint, which he was horrendous at in the first couple years. So, again, I know a lot of people nationally, they say, well, Nebraska's bad in close games. That's always going to be the case. That's just a lazy take. Just because something has been the case the last couple of years doesn't mean it's going to happen again. Okay, you have to actually dive into the details here to have an honest opinion about this team. So, again, yes, Nebraska in the past, they've always found ways to lose, but just saying that's going to happen again because it's happened the past couple of years, that's lazy. That's lazy analysis. You don't know what you're talking about, because if you dive into the details, you'll see that Nebraska, from a roster standpoint, is so much better. From a coaching standpoint, they're a lot better as well. They've been focusing on these time management situations in practice. honestly, Nebraska, they're not even hoping to be in that many close games because they should be dominating these teams from the very get-go. So I think that's a very lazy take. I'm tired of it. Those are the 5 that I just hear constantly. That no, we'll just go back to the start again. Number 1, that we aren't talented enough to win 10 games. That's not true. We have a bunch of talent. Indiana wasn't very talented. They did. Okay. Number 2 is that Matt Rhule can't win the big game. You might be right, but Matt Rhule hasn't stuck around a program to win the big games. So that record doesn't really reflect the truth. Number 3, Nebraska can't compete in the new Big Ten. That's not true because we compete against the best of the best every single year and we almost win. Number 4, the national beat reporters are always so ambivalent. They always disrespect the program and then they say, oh, Nebraska's going to win 6 or 7 games. Stick your neck out. Okay, have some confidence in yourself. If you're going to disrespect us, predict 4 wins. Or if you're going to have confidence in us, predict 9. Just don't be in between. Okay, because I'm tired of these wishy-washy reporters who don't know what to think. And then last but not least, Nebraska. People say, oh, Nebraska always finds a way to lose. It's going to be the case again. History repeats itself, but in a lot of instances, it doesn't. And at some point, things are going to change, and this is the year where it finally will. All right, guys, those are the 5 things. Honestly, I'm just sick and tired of hearing. So I want to call it out in this video. Let me know what you're tired of hearing, whether it's from Nebraska fans, Big Ten fans, national beat reporters, these people all around ESPN, whatever. Let me know what you want people to know that you're tired of hearing. Let me know in the comment section. Hey, if you made this far, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go be right. Go Matt Rhule, and I'll see you in the next one.